Hey there. Alright. It's going to be another ramble video. I think every video is just going to be a ramble video from now on. I like doing them. It seems like you guys like listening to cars drive by and really rev their engine. What a fucking asshole. I hate people with cars. Okay, look, if you're really into cars, so be it. That's your thing. That's cool. But like, can you just shut the fuck up? Okay. Anyway. We got a Listerine. So, yeah, it's been a little while, but we got a new Listerine, and it's got a good amount of Listerine in it, because like if it's too full, then it gets really sudsy and it doesn't make sounds anymore, really. But and if it's too empty, then it doesn't make enough sound. So it's got a good amount. Now you might notice it's a little sudsy already because I started making this video and then my phone decided to crash. So this is take 2. But that's okay, you know, we're working with it. We're rolling with the punches. We've got the gain turned up a little bit more than usual. It's not cranked all the way to the max, but it's a little higher than usual, so you might notice it's a little more sensitive. I'm hoping that, you know, brings out the amazing liquid shaking sounds. I'm not 100% sure that you guys actually like this trigger as much as I do. I might just be projecting that onto you guys a little bit, but that's okay. It's my channel, so I get to make the sounds that I want to make. I hope you guys like it. I mean, obviously I've gotten some comments saying like, yeah, it's a good sound, but I don't know that, like, you know, you guys like it as much as I do. I don't know. Anyway. We can tap on it too. It makes pretty good tapping sounds, I would say. It's got, you know, it's plastic, but it's kind of bassy because of the liquid inside. And then also, the sticker is like a matte material. If you can hear that. I mean, you might, you know, depending on sound, sometimes you can kind of like imagine the surface finish of a surface. I don't know if anyone else does that when they're watching ASMR. Especially with your eyes closed, like trying to assume what the thing they're like tapping on or making noise with is, because like, you know, there's a little fly in here. There's been a fly in here for like, I don't know how to get rid of it. Anyway, I don't know if anyone else does this, but like when you're listening to ASMR, you try to guess like what the surface finish is just based on the sounds. I don't know, maybe I'm weird. Anyway, it makes pretty good tapping sounds too. So we can shake it, and we can tap on it, and we can listen to the guy. I think that's the same exact guy. Just he drove up the street, and drove back down the street. I don't know what the fuck people are doing. Hopefully he doesn't continue to do that, because then I would maybe have to not make this video. And it's only been like a week since my last video. My phone is really, I think I'm about to have to bite the bullet, and instead of getting a new phone, I might just have to get a camera, like a nice camera. I'll just keep this phone for phone things and then use the camera for making videos, because it's really starting to get to a point where it's just like, I can't do it anymore. I mean, we're close to the 14 or whatever, 15, I'm not 100% sure which one we're on, iPhone. It's going to come out soon. Usually they come out in the fall. I thought I was going to be able to make it the whole way, but I don't know. Like I said, it's getting rough. But anyway, that's not what I want to ramble about. I've already rambled about that in like 13 other videos, so we're not going to talk about that. What we are going to talk about, it's a bit of a weird-ish subject, I suppose. But I find it interesting to think about. So we're going to talk about it. Because, you know, my channel, what I say goes. We're going to talk about laws and how laws are weird. and really inconsistent. That's the main thing. If laws were more consistent, then I wouldn't really care, And not to say that I do care, but just like, it is really odd to me with certain things, but we'll get there. But they're not very consistent. So we're going to bump the mic. We're going to talk about laws. We're going to start with the age of consent. The age of consent is a weird law to me. If you went up to any person, any random person, and asked them what the age of consent law was like for, like what it was supposed to do, most people would probably give you a answer along the lines of an answer, not a answer. Sorry, grammar. They would give you an answer along the lines of like it's a law in place to protect young people from being, preyed upon or taken advantage of by older people. That's the general gist, right? It's the idea that if you're a certain age in America, it's 18 and under, or well, I guess it's under 18, because once you are 18, then I guess you are of the age of consent. I don't know. 18. I know it's different all around the world, but yeah, if you're under 18, then you're not smart enough. You're not, wise enough to say, yes, I would like to have sex with this person. I guess if they're over 18, I guess if they're under, then it doesn't matter. It's like peer-to-peer. It doesn't matter. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what the law actually is, like the minute details. Maybe if I did a bit more research into it, then that would alleviate some of these problems. Because that's another thing, this little side tangent. As disturbing of a thought as this is, the age of consent, most people consider it like, if you're under 17, you can have sex with people under 17. If you're over 18, you have to have sex with people over 18. That's generally how it goes. But does that mean that like a 17-year-old could have sex with like a 10-year-old? Like, surely that would still be illegal, right? But I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But either way, the point I'm trying to make, I know I haven't made a point yet. The point I'm trying to make is that 18 is a weird age for that, because 18 is the age at which you become legally an adult. You are an adult by definition of the law. But 18 doesn't really mean anything in terms of like mental development, You're still very underdeveloped mentally at 18 years old. And the whole point of the age of consent law is that it protects people who are not mentally developed. But at 18, you're still not mentally developed. Even at 25, you're probably still not super mentally developed. I don't know when your brain stops developing, like when you are fully mentally developed. But it's definitely not 18. So it's just a weird law to me. It's like, to have the law in place for that purpose, it's like, yeah, we want to protect people from, I guess themselves in a way, but also other people. It's like, why is that the cutoff? It's like, there's the difference between a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old is like nothing compared to the difference between an 18-year-old and like a 25-year-old. I don't know. I was thinking about it. And I was like, that's really weird. Why isn't the age of consent like way higher than that? I don't know. The one thing I could think of, and again, this goes back to just my, I don't know how the law works exactly. But the one thing you might worry about, if, let's say the age of consent was 25, right? Then that would potentially mean that like 24-year-olds could have sex with like 16-year-olds, and that seems weird. But I think there are pretty easy ways to like get around that, by just I know Japan infamously has a very low age of consent at like 13 years old, but if you actually look into it, the like rules are, it's not just like anyone can have sex with a 13-year-old. It's like, it basically is just 13-year-olds can consent to having sex with other 13-year-olds basically. And it's still like a felony if like a 15-year-old has sex with like a 13-year-old. I don't know. There's like a whole thing on Wikipedia. if you fall down that rabbit hole. But it is still illegal for certain people, a lot of people, to have sex with a 13-year-old, as it should be, you know. So you could do something similar like that, where it's just like, you know, the age of consent, like the border, and I get it, right? That's kind of the same thing with like any law, is like there has to be a line somewhere. You have to draw the line, and it's always going to be a little bit arbitrary, obviously. But I kind of lost my train of thought. It's going to be arbitrary. But you can still, like, you can make it more nuanced so that it's not like, you know, whatever. The one thing about Japan is that their system is really not equal. I mean, I guess I understand this somewhat from like, okay, so the thing about Japan is that the penalty for breaking the age of consent laws are very heavily skewed towards being harsher against male perpetrators. So in some made-up situation, let's say a 20-year-old has sex with like a 16-year-old, right? I don't know exactly what, you know, the actual law says that specific situation would be, but let's say for a male 20-year-old having sex with a female 16-year-old, for the male it's going to be like a felony. Reverse it, so a female 20-year-old has sex with a male 16-year-old. For the female 20-year-old, it's only like a misdemeanor. It's kind of fucked up in my opinion. But that's just the world we live in, I guess. I guess I can kind of understand it just because like men are seen as more of like the aggressive sex, I guess. Especially when it comes to like sexual things like rape and stuff. But I think the penalty should still be the same. You would just see it perpetrated against men more often, you know? I don't know. I mean, that kind of extends to the whole idea of like rape, when it's done by a woman, is like never seen as that bad in society, which is really fucked up. Like if you ever see like a headline from like a news article or something talking about like woman rapes boy, like teacher rapes a student or something like that, you know. It never says rape when it's a female perpetrator. It's always like female forcibly has sex with, like, it's like, no, it's just call it rape. I do know that a bit of that has to do with the technical definition of rape. I think in certain places the like legal definition of rape is to like forcibly insert yourself in someone, which a woman can't do. But still, I mean, you could change that, right? Like, why are we acting like certain things are like locked in? Like, that's the point of laws, is they change and like, you know, you make it better. I don't know. I've always just personally had a big problem with that. It's just like, you rape someone, like, come on, it's not rocket science. Let's not sugarcoat it, you know. It's always bad. But yeah, age of consent just seems weird. 18, I feel like you're still really young. Really not much old. Like it's just weird. Like 17 years old, 364 days, and like 59 minutes off limits. Just completely not okay. 18, good to go. It's like, what? I don't know, it's just really weird. And like I said, you're gonna have to draw a line somewhere, no matter what. So it's always gonna feel a little arbitrary. But there could be better rulings about it, you know. I think there could be a better system. I saw, this was a while ago, probably like a couple months ago, but it was something came up in like the Supreme Court, or maybe not Supreme Court, maybe like the fucking Congress or something, I don't know. It was some guy in Congress or the Senate or something defending child marriage. It was some big thing for like a moment, and then everyone forgot about it because that's just how news works these days, unfortunately. you've got these big outrageous stories that like, wow, you know, I hate that. And then there's another one the next day and you forget about the last one, and it's like there's never enough time to like care about anything. I don't know. That's a different discussion. But anyway, this was a thing that happened a little while ago. Apparently, I guess child marriage laws were going to change or something. I don't know, and maybe people were fighting back against that. I don't know why you'd want to fight back against that. How do you fight back against that without like immediately being like labeled as a weirdo, you know? Like, I would like to stand up for our right to marry children. It's like, but why though? Why do you want to? Why do you have power? I don't know. It's just weird. We're running out of space. It happens. But we'll just keep going. But yeah, it's really weird. And also, I mean, I don't know, like I said, I didn't do any research on this or anything, but like when I think of child marriage, which honestly I didn't even know was a thing, so I guess my opinion on the matter is not, it's very uninformed. But when I think of it, and based on like the person that was defending it in court and the way he talked about it, it seems like something that is predominantly done by like, you know, like Southern white people. And if there's anything I know about Southern white people, it's that they're very religious, you know, Christian, that sort of thing. And if there's something I know about Christian people, especially very devout Christian people, it's that they get married very young so that they can have sex with each other, because it is against the religion to have sex before marriage. And I'm horny and I want to have sex, so I'll get married to this person so that I can have sex with them. You know, that's the mindset of a lot of Christian people. Deny it all you want, but that's just what I've seen in my life. And so when you combine the two, it becomes, well, there goes the video, but when you combine the two, it becomes really strange to think about. Like, you've got a child, and you've got a culture around the idea of getting married so that you can have sex with people. And you want to defend the idea of marrying children. Just, you know, I'm just kind of reading between the lines, and it seems weird. It seems strange. It seems very suspect to me. I don't know. I just, like I said, it's weird to see people defend things like that in the open. It's like, what? What's your reason? I don't know. In the video that I saw that was circulating, the guy was like, have you ever met a couple that was married when they were children or whatever? I don't even know. I guess just a couple created through child marriage. I don't know. And the other guy was like, no, I have not met anyone like that. And the other guy, the guy that was defending it, was like, well, they're still together. That was his defense, I guess. But it's not like, that's not a reason. That's just like, you're just giving an example of a time where I guess it worked out, although we're just kind of taking your word on it. You could be just completely making shit up. But again, it's not a defense. Like, you haven't given a reason as to why it's a good thing. Like, in your specific example, if those two people had just gotten married like a normal couple when they were both adults, who knows, maybe they would actually still be together. It's the same as they are now, according to you. I mean, again, we're assuming that he's telling the truth at all, but I don't know, it's just not a defense. Like, why? I fail to comprehend why anyone would need to marry a child. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. But yeah, I feel like the age-related things with certain laws is very strange. It's like, age of consent is 18. Smoking weed, tobacco, and drinking alcohol is 21. It's like, why is it 21? It's like, well, we don't want to damage the brain development of young people. It's like, wait. So 18 is too young. Like 18 is like you're susceptible to brain damage from, drugs and narcotics and stuff. But you can consent to having sex with like an 80-year-old or 50-year-old or whatever, like. And then to drive a fucking car, to rent a car, you have to be 25. I don't know if it's 25 everywhere across the nation, but where I live, it's 25. I'm 24. I cannot rent a car. But I can join the military, I can drink alcohol, I can smoke weed, if it was legal where I am, which it isn't, but I can smoke tobacco. And I can consent to having sex with like a 50 or 60-year-old, which is like double or triple, even quadruple my age. Fucking disgusting. But I could do it legally, within the law, within the bounds of the law. But rent a car? Are you out of your fucking mind? I've been driving cars my whole life. Okay, not my whole life, obviously. But yeah, I've been driving since I was probably around like 17 or so. Perfect track record. I've never been pulled over. I've never been caught speeding. I have sped, but I have never been caught. So that's the important thing. I've never been in an accident. I've never broken any laws on paper when it comes to driving. Perfectly clean driving track record. I'm a good driver. They would never allow you to try to rent a car. Oh, but you're 25 and you have like a really shitty track record. You've been in like 3 accidents and you've been like pulled over like 17 times for speeding and like running stoplights and stuff. Here you go. Here are the keys. I don't know. It's just, like I said, I get it. At a certain point, the law has to have a specific definition. But it is just kind of funny to me. It's fun to think about. It's fun to make fun of. It's also kind of weird with certain things. I don't know. Laws could be better, I think, personally. That's just me. Hopefully you've enjoyed these sounds and my rambles. If not, it's cool. I get it. The topic of discussion was a little strange this time, but I just like thinking about stuff like this. Like I said, if I was like the president or like the dictator or something, and I could make the choice myself without having to go through a bunch of like hoops, I would probably do a system where, a person can consent to having sex with someone within a certain like age range of them, maybe like a year or 2 years, and then like after a certain point, let's say 25, then that's when they can, have sex with anyone else over 25 or something. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I know half this video has been in black. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. See ya.